Welcome to the Classy Counsel, Reflections for the Wise and Elegant Lady. I am Nadia, your elegance coach, and in this weekly podcast, I bring you insights on how to cultivate the attributes of a lady that is elegant and not only elevated in terms of appearance, but also on a much deeper level, spiritually elevated. You'll find cross-references made with verses from the Bible and from other sources of wisdom. Whether you are a beginner or advanced in your journey towards the most elegant version of yourself, a curious learner, or simply looking for some more elegant mindset inspiration, you are in the right place. So, grab your favorite beverage, sit back, and join me on this journey of discovery and growth. The most painful thing is losing yourself in the process of loving someone too much and forgetting that you are special too. This is a quote from Ernest Hemingway. What is independence? Independence is the state of someone who is not dependent on anyone, on a material, moral, or intellectual level. Synonyms are autonomy, freedom, sovereignty. The opposites of independence are enslavement, dependence, obedience, subordination. Today, I don't want to talk about independence as we hear it today in the feminist sphere. I have my own salary, I have my own car, I have my own career, etc., etc. Financial independence, basically. I'm talking about emotional independence. Emotional independence is the ability to manage our emotions and make decisions without being overly influenced by external factors or the opinions of others. It's about nurturing a sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on external validation or approval. It is this type of independence, the emotional independence, that frees you from any type of harmful attachment. Whether we talk about romantic relationships or friendships and toxic relationships, professional ties that do not do you any good. Much of what keeps us in an environment that destroys us or blocks us from evolving is the importance that we have decided to attach to it. It is the emotional bond that we have created with this environment, with this person, with this thing. No matter the feeling behind it, whether it is loyalty, the fear of being alone, the need for validation and recognition, the need to tell ourselves that we have not invested all our energy and all of this time for nothing. In short, what prevents us from having this detachment that would be healthy, I'm talking about a healthy detachment here, not an unhealthy detachment, is what prevents us from this healthy detachment is our emotions. We women are emotional beings. I'm not saying that men don't have emotions, but women know how to listen to their emotions, seek to identify them and live with them, while men mostly don't know how to cope with them, to identify, to manage them. Sometimes they even avoid them at all costs. So once again, I am making it very general here, but there are men with high emotional intelligence, just as there are women who have great difficulty managing their emotions. So just understand that I'm generalizing. The elegant woman is independent, emotionally independent. This can be seen in her posture, in her body language. She has confidence in herself. She knows how to set her limits and boundaries. She knows how to have them respected precisely because she is not emotionally attached. She's independent. She's not emotionally dependent on someone or something. For example, a woman trapped in her emotional attachment to her work her workplace, let's say, will stay in that environment where she's, abused, where her skills are not recognized, where she will not be given the space to flourish, where her opinion will be ignored. And why? For what? Because most certainly, when she joined the company, she had a path in mind. She loved what she did. She placed her hope in the fact that she could eventually evolve. So she's attached to that dream. She's attached to these aspirations. She feels indebted, loyal, and perhaps also tells herself that after all these years of work, starting from scratch in another company would be a waste of her time. But the elegant woman who has emotional intelligence will know when enough is enough. Rather than saying to herself, oh, this was a waste of time, she will say to herself, you know what? This is a springboard to better. There is a feeling of gratitude, not of frustration, not of anger, just gratitude. Like, I've done my time here. This was good. It helped me in many, many things. I no longer align with the environment. It's time to go. She knows there is better for her. She's not scared. And certainly she found herself there at the beginning, but today her definition of evolution is not or no longer aligned with that which her company has for her. Consequently, her departure will not feel like a big sacrifice, but as the only logical thing to do. Also, for those in a romantic relationship, or those even married, the woman prisoner of her strong emotional attachment will continue to give of herself. She will continue to spend all of her energy, even if she is neglected, flouted, disrespected. If love is no longer returned, she will continue because the attachment is so strong. And she tells herself, I have to prove my worth to this person even more, because clearly this person doesn't understand how valuable I am. So she pushes even more. She gives even more of herself. Now, what are the emotions behind that? Is she doing it out of fear of being alone? Because of a deep lack of self-esteem? Because of the need for validation? Because of shame? Because she thinks if, let's say, she has to continue in this relationship to please, I don't know, family, friends. Is it because of all these years and all this energy she invested? We don't know. But clearly it comes from a place of need and not of want. The elegant woman, the one that is considered a high-value woman, will remain, if she remains in that relationship, she will remain by choice. Healthy choice. Not because her emotions dictate her behavior. There is a very well-known saying in the world of etiquette that says, don't let your mood dictate your manners. And it's like saying, don't let your emotions have control over your manners. And here it's a bit the same thing. We don't make good decisions with our emotions. We don't let them control us. Personally, the adage that we have heard all of our lives in films, in songs, the one that repeats all the time, listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. This is wrong. It's destructive. Don't listen to your heart. I'm wary of anything that comes from Hollywood now. Do not listen to your heart. Don't ignore it because it has things to say, but don't do as it wants. I tell you, having done the experiment myself, I grew up with this education of listen to your head, not your heart. So I knew from a very little age how to think about my decisions. But one day I wanted to do as my heart wanted. And I literally said to myself, for once, I'm going to see if my heart is really that wrong. Worst thing I've ever done in my life. Like, honestly, I'm telling you, I'm not going to go into details, but never again. Never. Terrible mistake. Horrible. And I quickly went back to my, the system I used to have, like my brain as the boss. Because the heart, yes, the heart informs me about my desires and it should not be ignored. But the final decision always comes from the brain. It should always come from the brain. The heart is the cradle of emotions. It only does what it wants to do, not what it must do. It doesn't take into account consequences. It doesn't take into account others, the heart of others. It wants things right now and it wants it for it. Besides, the Bible says the heart is capricious. Use intelligence, but do not trust the heart. That's what the Bible says. So the high-value woman will stay for reasoned, considered reasons. She will decide that this person is worth it because their story is worth it, but not because she needs this man. She stays out of desire, not out of need. The difference can be very difficult to see when you're in it and hot, and it's all hot. The high-value woman doesn't need someone validation. On the other hand, she will know how to detach herself. Of course, I'm not saying break up. I'm not saying separate or even divorce, since on one hand, I'm not a relationship expert. And let me tell you this, each relationship is different. So you are the only judge of what you should be doing. But what I'm telling you is to be careful where you make your decision from. Is it from a place of want or is it from a place of need? And also because I am Christian, I believe in the sacred nature of marriage. Marriage is not an institution whose primary goal is to make us individually happy, but primarily to live in holiness. So, of course, I believe that God wants us to be happy in our marriage. But in short, how will the elegant woman change an unhealthy dynamic in this case? She will withdraw her energy and refocus on herself. Of course, she will continue to be faithful, to be kind, but she will no longer kill herself seeking attention, to make people understand, to prove. No. Because that is the attitude of a woman without confidence, without self-esteem. If this woman has to give a man space, she will, without being scared of, oh my God, I'm going to lose him. What am I going to do? You don't need, you won't, right? Many men are unable to see what is really happening. They cannot really dig into their own emotions and they cannot reflect on themselves as long as they don't have the space for it. Men usually need to be alone, like to have this time alone to be able to, look into these emotions they do pretty much everything to avoid. When I say alone, I mean emotionally, primarily emotionally alone. Afterwards, if the woman has the possibility of taking physical leave to go away for a week, 2 weeks on vacation with family, with friends, that's good, that's perfect. But if this is not possible, withdrawing emotionally involves, gently taking back your energy for yourself and giving the person space. Not in the purpose of punishment, be careful, but with the aim of rebalancing. You have to, in a relationship, give as much as you receive for it to work. If one gives more than the other, it becomes shaky and compromises the sustainability of the relationship. And there will come a day when one's jug will be completely empty because it has never been refilled. So rebalancing is something very important. Rebalancing means I regain a little love for myself. I let the person contemplate their life, their emotions, to readjust, and then we can resume dancing together with balance. You know what I mean? So that's for a relationship, romantic relationship. Now, in the context of friendships or family, it's the same thing. You can also withdraw. This does not prevent us from being considerate, caring, faithful to ourselves. But once again, we seek balanced relationship, a relationship where we do not need to prove our worth since we are treated with respect, since we are given as much attention as we give. The woman trapped in her emotional attachment who has a friend who puts her down in front of others, who only contacts her when she needs her, will stay in that relationship again out of loyalty, maybe because they have known each other for so long. They laughed together, maybe even cried. They know everything about each other. But somehow she feels that she cannot spread her wings. The jealousy of the other friend is a block. On the other hand, the high-value woman will stand out. She will know how to identify the imbalance, and her reaction will not be anger, frustration. It will perhaps be disappointment, but above all, it will be optimism. Something in the lines of, it was a beautiful relationship. I respect this person as a person, but she will no longer have access to my life at all, or just partially. Family is different because we don't choose it, but we can always love from a distance. We can accept and say, this person is part of my family. It is not in our interest to be around each other, but we can show each other courtesy. Removing your energy, full access to your soul, is really a question of balance. Don't become a stone wall, because human relationships are the key to your happiness. We cannot leave completely hidden, but we must have the wisdom to say when a relationship asks more of us than we receive. Know that you deserve to receive as much as you give. Now, are you emotionally dependent? Here are some signs. If you are a people pleaser, meaning constantly seeking approval and validation from others, even at the expense of our own needs and desires. If you feel the fear of rejection, fear of being disliked or criticized, leading to avoidant behaviors and self-censorship. And if you experience emotional reactivity, if you are easily influenced by the emotions of others, losing control of your own emotional state, then most likely, yes, you are emotionally dependent. So you need to balance between, this. I know how to create an emotional bond to build an authentic relationship. And I also know to identify when a bond is being destructive. And to master this balance, you must develop this sense of independence. How does emotional independence, manifest itself in the elegant woman? Well, she may be financially independent, but that is not everything. She may very well be able to afford everything, but still need to be validated by others. So in that case, this wouldn't be independence. Emotional independence. That would be just financial independence. What does that look like as an elegant woman to be independent? Well, she will take care of herself, stay in shape for her, to feel beautiful, to feel good, not to please anyone, but first and foremost for her. She knows how to do things on her own. She's not afraid to do things by herself, like going to the cinema, visit a new place, etc. She would do what she likes, not what others likes, or not what she thinks others think she likes. She will also pursue her own objectives, own goals, dreams that belong only to her. She knows how to set limits, how to set boundaries. She makes personal development a priority. And also she does not neglect her friends, her family, those around her. So she's not a self-centered person, but she still has good consideration and awareness about the people from her entourage, but she still knows how to take care of herself. Now, how to cultivate emotional independence? I have 5 tips for you. First one is to get to know yourself really well. You need to know who you are. Recognize your emotions. Understand their triggers and recognize their impact on your thoughts and behaviors. It looks like, I'm feeling this frustration or whatever other feeling. where does that come from? I know it comes from this. Whenever someone say this, or whenever someone does this, or whenever I'm finding myself to be in that situation, I react that way because it triggers this emotion in me. That's how it looks like when you know yourself really well. Second thing, it's to cultivate self-esteem. Confidence is key. Cultivate a strong sense of self-worth by believing in your inherent worth and abilities. Having confidence in the person you are. Number 3, establish healthy boundaries. Set clear boundaries and expectations in your relationships. It is being able to say, this thing, I accept it. This, I do not accept. This behavior is yes, and this one is a no. This way of speaking to me is a yes, and this way of speaking to me is a no. Number 4, take care of yourself. Prioritize your physical and mental health. Take time for activities that nourish your mind and body. Reading, writing, going to watch a movie, walking, going to see an exhibition, attending a conference, playing an instrument, learning a new skill, going to get a massage for yourself, visit a loved one, play sport, go swimming, go running, visit a town you don't know near you. Just do things for yourself, things that make you happy. And 5, seek support when needed. You can surround yourself with supportive people who encourage your growth and independence. And there is nothing more uplifting than being together as a woman with other women. We know how to listen to each other. We understand our emotions. We know that we need to speak to express ourselves. So finding yourself talking with a bunch of women and you is useful and necessary. So I would suggest you to create a circle of women, but choose them well. Choose women whom you consider for their wisdom, for their elegance, for their discretion, for their kindness, the must-have qualities in which you find yourself. Support each other, but also seek professional help if you need to. A professional help that will help you determine the reasons why you put up with relationships that do not benefit you, what makes you accept relationships that are not making you really happy, who will help you understand why you seek to please people at all costs, why you seek validation, etc., etc. And now I will conclude, as usual, with an inspiring Bible verse that highlights the importance of cultivating inner strength and self-control, qualities that contribute to emotional independence. This verse reminds us that our true identity lies in our connection with God or the universe, depending on your belief, not in the approval of others. And this is in Colossians chapter 3, verse 12. Therefore, as the chosen people of God, who are holy and beloved, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and self-control. If you like this podcast, if you have any questions or suggestions, don't hesitate to leave me a comment, like, or share. If you also like affirmation words, you can visit my YouTube channel, Madame Kabongo. You will find a video specifically on independence in the Affirmation for the Elegant Woman playlist. For even more advices to become the best version of yourself in etiquette, in elegance, in communication, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You will always find me there under the same name, Madame.Kabongo. Thank you. You deserve to receive as much as you give. See you next week.